Today is Wednesday, November the 6th, and we're making this video a little bit later so that we can see the updates for the McClellan oscillator. But first, let's look at the futures. And the stocks traded on the New York Stock Exchange had a negative 1.41 to 1, so 40% more stocks went down than went up, and that was 38% on the NASDAQ. The high, the Globex high overnight, was made just before the opening bell, maybe an hour before, and then it dropped. And it dropped on the news that the China deal wasn't going to be signed in November. Like, should anybody really be surprised? We came up, we momentarily tried to test the Globex high just before lunch, and then over the lunch period we dropped down to almost 50% below the Globex low. And we finished a bit on an up note. However, the key takeaway is that the advancers and decliners were in favor of the decliners. So what that did to our McClellan oscillator is it took it right back down to the zero line. So the momentum that we experienced back here at the beginning of October couldn't take us to completely overbought. And then the money started to move out of the market, hit the neutral line, popped up, couldn't come back to this level, and is now back to the zero line. This indicates that there is some concern in the market. The summation index was only up a tiny amount, so insignificant, but volume was near to relative average volume in the Dow. The NASDAQ was much higher, and the S&P 500 had reasonable relative volume. So let's now look at Motive Wave and the S&P. We filled this gap, so we can get rid of that. We do have this gap down here. We finished at the top of the range, but I still believe that tomorrow is going to be a challenging day and that we will be down further. Apple finished at the top end of its range. Nothing much to report except the 127.2% Fibonacci extension has proven to be resistance. Caterpillar still doing a little bit of a pullback. This high here doesn't coincide with any interesting Fibonacci's or any other trend lines. Let's just take a look at the volume, and the volume was really pathetic, quite low. So this pullback doesn't really signal anything of any importance. GDX was met with resistance at the 8 EMA, and the Chiku span, which we saw in last night's video, ended right at the top of this candle, did have the bounce. So this was supported. We said watch for this bounce, and it happened. I'm going to take some of this crap out here. We finished above the body of this candle, so let's look for the 8 EMA as being resistance. The GDX could still go up. Missed an opportunity to break through the cloud right here. I'm really disappointed at that. I really thought that it was going to break, but now as time moves on, resistance to get through the candle is going to be, to the cloud, is going to be more difficult. Remember what we said in the S&P. We said watch the 15-minute and let's see where it opens up. Said that it really needed to open up 4 points higher than where we closed yesterday. This is where the Chiku span was yesterday. Needed to open up above this candle, or these candles were going to act as resistance. And that's exactly what happened. We didn't open up on our first opening candle today, which was right, where was it? Right here. our high, our Chiku span was here, and it never was able to break through the 15-minute candles. Where are we now? The Chiku span is behind this candle, and its high of the day when we closed was here, just below the 8 EMA. So tomorrow's open needs to be above 3075 for it to break out over these candles of support. But it needs to get through the 8 EMA as well. Believe it or not, the Chiku span is a really incredible indicator of how things are going to trade. And I do believe that algorithms are using the Chiku span as a flashpoint for buying and for selling. AT&T, not quite a hammer here, but it did finish in an up. The whole day was a narrow open and close, but quite a range on the day of, well, only 29 cents, but it finished up 8 cents. WDC down 44 cents. The Chiku span a few days ago ran into resistance, and today the Chiku span got support on the 200 and was able to bounce off of that. So it's still a stock that's suffering the weakness of its earnings. So keep an eye on that. Whirlpool recovered some of its losses over the day. The 38.2% was an interesting opportunity to buy in if you did. I said I didn't. I'm still worried about the overall market. I did buy one thing today, and that was KL. And I tweeted, this is a Canadian gold mining stock that reported earnings today that were a record blowout. That propelled its stock quite a bit. Now I bought it, as you can see right here, at 47.14, and it pulled back below the cloud. But the reason that I bought it is that it was pointed out by someone on Twitter called Trader Stewie, who really is a pretty astute trader, and he looks for patterns like this of consolidation, where you can see that you could draw a trend line across all of these candles and a trend line across these candles, and the stock bounced and started trading in a narrower range in this funnel, and is apparently poised to break out. It could also break to the bottom side, but I bought half a position. I bought 500 shares today. I'm down a few $100s. I'm going to wait and see what happens tomorrow. If the cloud proves to be resistance, then it's quite possible that the cloud, the flat part of the cloud here, will be support, and we may actually get a bounce off of the bottom cloud tomorrow. So let's just keep an eye on it. If we do get a bounce off the bottom, I'm going to buy some more and just play this pattern as a potential breakout. So that's it for today. I'm looking for downside tomorrow, but I don't see the floodgates opening up, but I do see weakness signaled by the McClellan oscillator.